Yeah, we're YouTube's. Good morning, Erica.
Good
Good,
morning.
good morning, Brianna. I think you're frozen, but good morning, Trey. Good morning, Aaron. Good morning, Lydia. The sun is like it's moving. It's moving this morning. It was all up in my eyeballs. Now it's all up in my face. And just reflecting off the buildings. Can't see nothing. Hmm. Good morning, Mikey. Long time no talk.
It's been like a whole 2 or 3 minutes.
With that.
A lifetime.
I like that.
I learned that from my dogs.
Hmm.
You've been gone for a whole 2 minutes.
What is this? Is this you, Brianna, that's texting me also? All right. It's Monday Fun Day. Oh, Maggie, she found her way back.
What is that supposed to mean?
Well, you haven't been on in at least 2 days.
Well, neither of you, Dan.
Are you sure about that?
I'm positive.
Well, then you have to give us something you're proud of. Something that went well this weekend, a win.
All right, a win. Personal, my little men won the championship for tackle football. That's exciting. And then work related, I think I helped a buyer find their perfect home. So that's exciting. No offer yet, but we're getting there.
I love that. Because Maggie shared, she gets to pick someone else that has to share.
Oh, geez, I hate that.
I know. And so do they.
All right. Who can I pick on? I'm going Jim.
Targeting the Jimmy.
I knew that was coming. Um, yeah, so I actually had 3 deals get into contract last week, so pretty productive week, not trying to be productive.
There you go. Yeah, Jim took the week off to reset. Jim's way of resetting is to do more business.
Sounds like you should reset more often, Jim.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Right. Love that. All
Rather
right.
be lucky than good, right?
Now that Jim is shared, Scott has to share. Yeah,
How does
these
that work?
these rules aren't consistent, Scott. Don't ask. I don't make I do make the rules. I do make the rules.
You do make the rules.
I do make the rules.
I got one buyer that I've been working on. It's like March. He's gonna get another pre-qual, and we're gonna start looking at houses this weekend. And then I wrote an offer for another client, a Zillow call that came in last week.
That's
Still,
awesome.
still trying to get them to accept and acknowledge the offer, but hey, tiny baby steps. We're getting there.
Yeah. Gotta love it. All right. Now that I've gotten 3 forceful wins, what else you guys want to share and talk about? What wins do you have? Celebration, something you're just dang proud of?
I got 5 listing showings or listing appointments this week.
There you go. And where did those 5 listing appointments come from, Mr. Eric?
Circle prospecting.
Just getting on the phone and doing the work.
This is
Okay.
a lot though. I did uh 220 calls and I have 220 calls. I had 5 listing appointments.
220
That's
calls,
amazing.
5 listing appointments. Okay. So
I thought you'd be good.
Where did you
You know
get
how
these numbers, Eric?
From Mojo.
he's just calling around his neighborhood. He's literally just dialing random numbers. And every 44 calls, he got an appointment. Some of you didn't make 44 calls last week.
Because I'm a high SC, what's that dollar per call?
Well, in his market, you always have to come to this. Do the math, Jim. His market average sales price is 300,000.
Got it.
2.78% average commission rate across the nation.
What was that dollar? The main dollars? The per like 10 grand?
Well, let's do the math together.
No, I
300.
just want the easy
No,
numbers, Dan.
I know you
You're
do.
gonna make this complicated.
Want the easy numbers. It's $8,340 per closing. If he closes all five of those, that's $41,700 that he made 220 phone calls, which is roughly $190 per phone call.
That doesn't suck.
For those of you who are not Jim, numbers, lots and lots of numbers, money, money numbers. So last week we talked about I am versus I was, and that I think Eric really took that to heart and he ran with it. This week I want to talk about how that works in play. But before I do, I'll share a win for myself. I put an offer in on my first commercial property.
Nice.
So we'll see how that works out. That'll be cool. And I
What are you
did that.
trying to do with that?
What's that?
What are you trying to do with that? Like a commercial property to rent out?
Yep, the strip mall.
Okay. Stepping it up.
Yeah. I mean, I call it a strip mall, but it's a single building with 5 units in it. But to me, it's a strip mall. By definition, it's a strip mall. It's got a gym, a hardware store, a lady that sells bags. I don't know. She sews a bunch of stuff, so she's got all kinds of trinkets in there. And then someone who does lashes by appointment only. Lashes by Ashley. With 2 E's, not a Y. If they got 2 E's, you can't trust them. And we did that. My wife and I were talking about things, and we're talking about how things in our lives we want to do, right? The goals, the plans, the dreams, the aspirations, the things that we want to accomplish in life. And we sat there, we're talking like, what are we waiting on? We're waiting for things to be right. I love last week we talked, he's not on the call this morning, I don't see him, Paco, Francisco. But Paco says, I was an overthinker and now I'm a man of action. Love that. It was a great share that he put in the chat also. But it kind of set things in motion is that most of us that want to do bigger things in life do it. It's weird. On this call, there's a lot of people that have done some pretty incredible things. Even in the last week, Eric made 220 phone calls. I don't know if Eric's made 220 phone calls in the last 5 months. But he pushed himself to not only get off caffeine, which I'm proud of you, but I know that is a fight. But
Yeah.
but also he pushed through 220 awkward conversations to set 5 listing appointments. Now the odds are half of those won't show, and of that, 70% will probably do business with them. That's 2 listings. That's a win. It changes his dollar per call to about $80 per dial, but whatever. Who's counting, right? Jim, you're the only one. But when we look at our goals, we look at our dreams and aspirations, a lot of times people are not overreaching, they're under dreaming. Most people fail in life not because they aimed too high and missed. They set their sights a little too low and hit. In your life, do you know of anyone that feels like they've settled? Like they're just doing what they thought they could do and not push themselves to do more? Anyone ever heard this word comfortable? God, we are in this feverish pursuit of comfort. There's new ads for couches and shoes and everything that just makes life comfortable. We don't grow in comfort, do we? No. I heard this morning. I don't even know who the pastor was, the name of the pastor. He's a real buff guy with a beard, real big beard. But he's talking about we don't grow in comfort, we grow in chaos. Now, the word chaos doesn't align a lot of people's goals and aspirations, but when you are pushing yourself to do more, does it not feel like chaos? Right? "Oh, I got to make another 10 phone calls. I'm going to cut out this part of my diet." You are uprooting things that you are comfortable with. Either it's smoking, drinking, perversions of the body. Changes and challenges uproot our comfort because we as humans love routine. I bet you get the same coffee at the same place every time. You may think about going somewhere else to get coffee, but you go back to your old haunts every time because that consistency is in place. Jim's like, yeah, from my kitchen or McDonald's
Or McDonald's.
or McDonald's, right? Because we set goals that are safe, and what you're calling safe is often just fear in disguise. Well, Dan, aren't fears normal? Absolutely. Fears are absolutely natural. Fears are realistic. But often realistic is based on past interactions, right? How do we judge our lives? Well, we judge it based on what's happening to the past. Well, I've tried this before and I failed and it hurt and I don't want to do that again. It falls in line with the law of the lid. Anyone ever heard of the law of the lid? If you take a flea, a single flea, you put it on the table, it'll jump about 3 feet in the air. But you take that same flea that can jump 3 feet in the air and you put it in a jar and screw on the lid. That flea jumps with all its might 3 feet and smashes into the lid, hurts itself, sits back down at the bottom of the jar and sits there and thinks, man, that really sucked. I'm going to jump with less energy next time. Maybe I can not hurt myself. So it jumps again with half energy and it smashes into the lid. Well, it does this repeated cycle of hurt and recalibration until the jump is just below the lid. And then you take that flea out of the jar, right? You take the top off, jars on the table, and that flea jumps. Do you think that flea ever jumps past the lid again? No, it's because now it has been conditioned from its past to stay safe. So when we talk about goals, when we talk about dreams, we talk about all these things that we want you to have, because the ego of the organization is to develop and grow and challenge people to have better lives. Some of you have hit your head too many times. And yes, I said that on purpose, Jim.
No, I agree.
Which has caused you to not to want to jump higher. That has caused you to not to want to go beyond your safe and comfortable. I've never done this before. I've never done this before. I've never done this before. Yeah. Well, my wife and I were sitting there talking about we've never done commercial before. I have a long history of understanding around residential. I teach it, I broker it, I do a lot around it. But when it came to commercials, like we've never looked at commercial because of the discomfort, and we have failed in organizational discomfort. So we did something different. We challenged ourselves. And we said, you know what? Let's not wait. Let's put in a letter of intent. Let's put an offer in and then we'll figure out how to get the money. Because if they accept our offer, man, that's half the battle. We can go from there. I talked about this last week is in the week prior too, the better version of you. Did that resonate with anybody? Couple of you, right? The better version of you. There's a version of you that is bold, that is wealthy, that is creative, that is impactful. And they're not stuck on this past version of safe. They're jumping past the lid. They're like, you know what? I know I've been stuck for so long, but I'm going to keep jumping. I'm going to keep climbing. I'm going to keep risking and challenging because it's going to allow me to do things that I didn't know were possible. How many of us are under dreaming in our lives? So this week, right? Think about that. We are now 2 months away from the end of the year, and it's the calibrated reset, the new year, new me. Why don't we start that now? Last week, I challenged you guys to get past the I ams, I was. Some of you took that to heart and you went and challenged yourselves. You made changes in life that weren't comfortable. You went and did things that weren't safe. And you're seeing growth from it. Well, if you played small, get out of that vision. Because the other side of that small dream you have is a better life. People that live big, bold, fulfilling lives are often pushing and challenging themselves. They're not comfortable. My aunt and uncle worked on a farm. They were ranch hands at John Kerr Dairy Ranch in Buckeye, Arizona. And I visited their house every summer until I was probably 13. That's when we moved to Ohio.
Chapter 1.
Exactly. Chapter 1, Jim. Go ahead and listen to that. I'm boring you. I get it. But we went there, and my Uncle Bert had a wood rocking chair. Anyone ever sat in a wood rocking chair before?
Yeah.
Are they extremely comfortable?
No.
No. No. But for 53 years, this man sat in a wood rocking chair. Uncle Bert would say, why don't we get you a lazy boy? Why don't we get you a recliner? Why don't we get you something more comfortable? And that man always had some stoic response. Boy, do I look soft to you? Boy, do it look like I need to sit down and get comfortable? I remember that old man would sit down 3 times a day. In the morning to put on his boots, at lunchtime to drink a friggin' jug of milk. It was like a gallon. This guy was 6'7", if you give you any insight. And he drank a gallon of milk a day. But he would just put it in a mug, just big mug of milk. He would sit there with his lunch. Paper plate, usually a hot dog, a hamburger or something, drinking his mug. And at the end of the day, to take his boots off. And then he'd go to bed. He used to say, son, you are not built to be lazy. Don't sit around, go to work. Very religious man, idle hands or the devil's play toy, like that kind of stuff. So he'd always had some task for me, always had something for me to do.
Hi, welcome to Aceable Real Estate.
Jim, I'm going to kick. Jim is making himself look terrible today.
Oh yeah, that's what I do.
But that was the thing, because Uncle Bert would tell me all these things to do. I need you to do this, 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 and this. Wake up at 3 a.m. with him. I worked harder between the ages of 8 and 10 for that old man than I thought I could possibly do. And he pushed me to limits I never thought I'd have. But you know what? At the end of everything, I felt more fulfilled after the hard work than I ever did sitting around watching TV. The days were fun, the work was hard, but we did it. But he also taught me all kinds of things, because you can't build a massive life with a mindset that thinks you're average. Because he would push me to do things I didn't think were possible. Man, I learned to drive a tractor at 8 years old. I thought I was the coolest kid. I come back to California. You guys know what California's filled of. Really cool kids driving tractors, right? No. So I was the cool kid. I could drive it. There's pictures of me driving trucks. There's pictures of me driving tractors at 8, 9 years old. I was the coolest kid in school, right? Because I was doing things that weren't average. Even today, I do things that aren't average. I pushed myself with a mindset of massive action, right? Oh man, I stopped thinking I can't even say it right. I can't afford that. I changed it to how can I afford that? I can't do that to how can I do that? I could never possibly have this to how could I possibly have this? I've lived small. I have lived small. I've lived big, and both of them suck. What do you mean? What does it suck? Well, when you live small, you're always wondering, is there more? Could I do better? I'm struggling between paychecks and paying for things. And I've lived big where things are expensive. At every level of the ladder, you're going to have problems. You're going to have issues. But you know what? Some people's issues are better to have. My issues are, we need to buy something to offset our tax debts, or we need to invest this money so that we can generate more of it, versus I need to pay for my milk and buy eggs and bread. Life is hard. Being broke is hard. Being rich is hard. Being big is hard. Being small is hard. Choose your hard. So put your goals together and look at your life. The whole bold thing is take your goals and double it. You want to do $100,000 next year? Double it. such an arbitrary thing, but it's so magical to chase yourself into being something big. Because if we build our dreams off of who we are today, they will always be small in comparison to what we can accomplish. Because you have to dream on the other side of your abilities. Force yourself to grow who you are so that you can get what you want better. Because you can't build massive with a small mindset. Stop dreaming based on what feels safe, and that safe is because of the lid you kept hitting when you were younger. And start dreaming with what aligns with who you're becoming. You don't know the people you need to know to be done in life, to be successful at your levels, right? You don't know the people that you need to know. Someone's trying to call me. Go away. I'm on the phone. Get away from me. Evidently, my follow-up boss doesn't follow my do not disturb. Good to know. But when you are building your goals and your dreams and the things you want in life, I want you to be crazy. I want you to be outlandish. I want you to think about the craziest possibilities in your life, even if you don't know how to get there or how to do it or how it's going to be, because you don't know what you don't know. You don't know who you don't know, and you don't know what it's going to take because you've never done it before. But if you build your dreams on, this one time it was nice to do that, and you're this big, but then you grow and you think about it and you dream bigger. And now all of a sudden your actions have taken you to the next level. Now you're in a new level of comfort. Now 220 phone calls is a typical Tuesday, not an all-week adventure. Now making 5, 6, 7, 800,000, maybe even $1 million a year is average. Some of us make $100,000 a year, and you will probably never go back from that. Some of us are living a life now that 10 years ago you dreamed of. And it's still not enough. So push yourself to do more. You weren't built to be lazy. You weren't built to sit around and wait for life to happen. You were built to go do something crazy. Stop dreaming based on what feels safe and start dreaming on what aligns to who you are. Because today I want you to declare, I am not who I was. I am built for more. And if you truly believe it, that you're built for more, what are you going to stop doing? What are you going to stop saying? What are you going to stop letting be in your path that is keeping you from living the bigger life, the better life? When you claim that I was built for doing more, what permissions does that unlock? Because some of you are sitting there waiting for permission to be successful, waiting for permission to grow, waiting for permission to do more. Some of you have a friend group that is so calloused and small that you feel awkward talking about business and growth and development because these people around you want to stay small. So you feel weird, right? Maybe this is the permission to find new friends. Maybe this is the permission to push your friends. Maybe this is permission to push out some toxic energy in your life. Maybe it's caffeine, maybe it's other addictions, because caffeine's a bad addiction, as Eric is finding out. Withdrawals are a real bitch, I know.
Fuck.
But the one thing is, guys, I really remember this, I am not who I was. I am built for more. Say it.
Not who I was. I'm built for more.
Yeah, I am not who I was. I am built for more. Believe it. Now act it. Because the only thing too small for you to dream is the version of you that doesn't chase it. Because the version of you that you want to become, right? It's not, I don't want you to think that your goals and your dreams are on the other side of actions. They're not. They're on the other side of identities. Because if Eric, like we're going to talk Eric a lot today, if Eric was the type of person that did 220 phone calls every week, would his business be a little bit better than it was a week ago?
You need help.
But if Eric is the type of person that goes, you know what, I'm going to do 220 phone calls just this one time. Man. I did the work. He's like, man, that was awesome. Five appointments, but I'm tired. Now he's assigned his success to an action where his success actually is tied to an identity. He goes, I was the type of person that saw 220 phone calls as a tough hill to climb, but now I am the type of person that does 220 phone calls on the regular. I'm talking to 220 people a month. Turns into I'm talking to 220 people a week. The identity is where you shift the success. Are you the type of person that wakes up to get to work? Or are you the type of person that's like, oh, I got to do all this work? Part of me when I was driving up to Phoenix this morning was thinking that the whole idea of 9 to 5 is failing you. Thank you. Again, go to voicemail. Leave me alone. Someone's trying to call me again. Guys, I'm talking to my people.
I want to hear the call conversion script.
Yeah.
It's easy. This is Danny Keller Williams. How are you? And then answer the questions, ask the questions, follow up. But your mindset reset for this week, guys. Today, starting over, moving into as I was, no longer exist. Now I am. But I want you to be built for more, do more, live more. If there's a dream, go after it, get it. But also look at that dream and say, is this dream old me? Or is this dream new me? Because I'll tell you guys, if they accept my offer on this commercial property, it freaking terrifies me. Because I got to come up with money. I got to do things that I've never done before. In a town I don't live in.
Oh, you're buying this one. I thought you were working this one.
Oh no, I'm personally buying this one.
Gotcha. That's cool.
We got to think about that, right?
Where's it at, Dan?
Oracle.
Link feet pictures.
So, but that was the thing is my wife and I were sitting around talking about it, and her and I drove up there on Saturday. It's about an hour from our house. We walked a bunch of properties. We looked at a couple of them, and the excitement my wife has around it is palpable. But I can tell you, it's absolutely terrifying when you look at it like, I've never done this before. I don't know who I need to know. I don't know what I need to know, but I can tell you, if somebody comes up to me and says, hey, Dan, this is a bad idea, I'm going to tell them to kick rocks. Because we see the potential. And that's an identity shift. It's I am not living small. I'm going to take risks. I'm going to do great things. And then after the initial, like, babe, we've never done that before. Why were we even looking at it? Turned into, oh shit, this has some major opportunities. Let's go after it. What else can we do? And then she throws a monkey wrench on me yesterday. She goes, what if we buy both of them? What? Talk about changing your mindset, going from I don't know to how can we buy both of them?
Take your goal and double it.
Hey, are you not seeing this in real time? The goal was one, and now it's both of them. I really hope this something resonated with you today and something popped. I know that it wasn't as fluid as normal. I'm not in my normal space. However, when we start looking at our tomorrows, build upon that. Bigger goals for tomorrow. Because what you're living now is a life that was a goal of yours 10 years ago. It may not have been a stated goal, but the actions that you took brought you to where you're at. And if you're happy with where you're at, congratulations. If you're not, change something. So it's 8:30. I'll give you guys a second if you want to share any of your takeaways, your ahas. The three of you that were paying attention today, I appreciate you.
Hey,
Then you-
Dan, are the properties, the commercial properties, they occupied?
Yeah. Well, one building is, the other one's not.
Is it triple net?
Mostly. Mostly.
Mostly.
So, mostly. And that's why we got to work on. And for
On the
those of
tenant
you,
side or the owner side?
what's that?
On the tenant side or the owner side?
Tenant side.
Yeah.
See, look at you guys. Now you're all curious, like, ooh, I want to buy commercial property. Let's talk about it.
I've always wanted to buy commercial property.
Some of you don't even know what triple net means. So, guys, thank you for being a part of my days. I love pushing you and challenging you to do more, but I'm excited to see you get to a place where you can look back and say, you know what, that scared the hell out of me, but I'm glad I did it. Because look at where it's taken me. And from some of us, jumping into real estate was that terrible jump. Man, I didn't know what I was going to do. And then real estate became this opportunity. Scares the hell out of me.
And you should know what triple net means because it was on your test.
Yeah.
Or at least it was in your classwork. It might not have been on your test.
Yeah.
But...
It's day 43,650 of being a realtor, and no one's asked me how many feet are in an acre.
Yep.
So, all right, guys, thank you for being a part of my morning. The rest of you wake up. Let's go do something cool this week, right? Raise your hand if you got appointments this week for buyers or sellers. Okay. Raise your hand if you're going to have appointments this week for buyers or sellers.